that money, 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 money. I don't come to money, 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 money. Do it all for money, 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 money. Let me stack that money, 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 money. Come and get that money, 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 money. I don't come to money, money.
Good evening. Welcome to Plus Money Golf on the Fantasy Sports Corp Network. The show with the pro and the caddy. That would be Adam and Smitty. My name is Eric. I'm just the host. We're brought to you this evening by Jazz Sportsbook, Casino and Racebook, and our friends at Underdog Fantasy. Use code Plus Money, all one word. Get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Chris is over there, multiple screens, doing the technical shit, making everything work. Adam and Smitty are here. Smitty's already catching strays. It was a wild U.S. Open. How you doing, guys?
Good.
Licking my wounds, man.
Record-setting week at the U.S. Open, but fuck, just not good.
I mean, it was a crazy fun tournament to watch. Like just for viewing.
Sure.
I mean, there was so much entertainment going on. There was some really good golf. There was some really bad golf. It's funny that that Jeff says shout out to Smitty. Sam Bennett shaved off his facial hair and the ability to golf. With what he shoot a 79 on Saturday. That hurts.
Oh,
a
I
little bit.
mean,
He was hanging top 8 most of the weekend.
yeah.
the thing is, he still would have been low amateur, but he used the Victor Hovland card and was able to turn pro and keep his exemption in the event, which is cool. And he'll get into the British too because he still uses that exemption, which is great. I'm glad they changed that rule because otherwise you have guys just holding out amateur status forever.
Yeah, I mean, overall though, as a tournament, I think that Saturday felt like a Sunday. Did it not?
Yeah.
It was so awesome. Like there were guys going back and forth, right? And guys, there are some guys are like Ricky and like Xander and stuff trying to like just hold on to the lead and stay at the top of the leaderboards. And you got Wyndham Clark just going bonkers all over the place, right?
And Rory too.
And Rory's just doing some things that you forgot that Rory could do, and it was a lot of fun. And he's trying to nestle himself back up. Like he must have heard what we were talking about him. Is like Rory maybe starting to slip out, but I mean, it's not. The thing is like I didn't mean that to be like a shot at him last week by any means. It was just he wasn't playing up to Rory's standards, and all of a sudden there was a bunch of that just really shined through this weekend watching him play golf, and I loved it because now you can tell how hungry he is to get another W because
he's close.
He is, and he was very, very vocal and just very defining in everything that he did over the weekend, and you can tell that he visibly wants it. I mean, he's screaming at himself after he misses putts or he mishits a ball. Like that's stuff that you don't normally get out of Rory, especially as of late.
Well, I didn't look at the stats to see his proximity to hole on Sunday, but it seemed like he had a 50-footer every hole.
I know.
If he's, let's say, inside 20 on half of those, he probably walks away with this thing by 5.
Right, but the golf course was set up for guys not to be able to get close.
They definitely set the pins harder.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, you guys want to have fun? Well, we'll show you what fun's like. I mean, what was it on? A couple of the holes, you couldn't even access the pin because it was so close to the edge on the downslope.
Yeah.
If you had 20 foot, that was close.
Yeah, you had to play either, okay, this is a front left pin. Well, I have to play to the back towards the center to have it possibly like filter back down towards the hole, for example. And like guys just weren't able to do that. And then the fescue and the rough and just the gnarliness of the crap around the bunkers really showed its teeth on Sunday. Cause I mean, you saw that shot that Wyndham Clark had. He almost lost the tournament right there.
And the greens were so crispy. Like you could tell the difference between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, how crispy they got because the balls would not hold on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw a ton of balls that were holding the first few days or spinning back that were just hitting and releasing. And for a tour player with a wedge from 50 yards to have a ball that releases, that's pretty much fucking impossible.
It is. And then, I mean, I'll bring it up first, I guess, but
the Xander meltdown or what?
Well, not even the Xander thing, but just
Spieth,
I mean,
Jake
Xander's
Spieth,
a thing, but
Homa.
Ricky like
Oh.
did not.
He didn't have
he
it.
was talking about how he was like, I'm not scared to fail, and all this stuff on Saturday. And to be honest with you, he looked completely different the entire round on Sunday than he did Thursday, Friday, Saturday. He did
Yeah.
not look like he had the confidence
Well-
that he had the rest of the weekend. And as soon as he started to struggle a little bit and he saw some other guys having some success, all of a sudden he was just like, oh, I need to crawl back into my hole here a little bit.
Well, I mean, I said he didn't. It took him a while to have that 75 that I said he was going to end up having on Friday or Saturday. I think if he has it on Friday, then Saturday he plays freer and Sunday he plays freer. But
It's true.
I
I mean,
mean,
you look at his scores, right? He goes 62 to 68 to 70 to 75, and
Yeah.
you just watch it kind of happen, and
But for where he
unfortunately-
was last year, as standing there for 9 hours watching guys tee off trying to get into being in the final group is pretty good. And I mean, it's probably cool for him to see his buddy win. And they even said something about on the post-round interview when they were interviewing him, and Clark walked by with the trophy and he goes, "How's that feel?" And he's like, "Pretty good." He goes, "I bet so." I mean, he was more happy for Wyndham than I think as he would have been for himself because he's just that good of a dude.
Right, and and Wyndham's gone through a lot, obviously, in his
Yeah.
life outside of golf as well. And a lot of people have, obviously, but I mean, just the story that how it was told and everything, and it was kind of just like, oh man, it's awesome that he was able to finally figure it all out, and now he's at the age of 28 or 29, and
Yeah.
and now he's got a major win, and you feel like he's kind of hitting the prime of his career right now, and
With another win this year.
yeah,
I mean, that's getting 2 wins in a year and being that hot. I mean, we've had him the last 3 or 4 weeks, and like Colton Oast said on his podcast today, like this dude went from playing an opposite field event during the match play to winning a major, and that shows some. I mean, and Ricky goes from 247 to I don't know what he is now, but he's got to be in the top 25 or 30.
right.
There's
Well,
a lot of
and
good storylines.
my friend Jeff, who was commenting here before, to me, I mean, he's been on Wyndham all year, and he's like, I can't believe you guys don't talk more about Clark. I mean, the guy's going to start winning. He's so good, and I watched almost the entire, pretty much 75% of the round with him on Friday, and I was just every time like he would do something, I'd just look over and be like, oh my god, like you're right, like how have we been missing on this guy? But
100 to 1.
yeah, but I mean.
Unbelievable.
Gosh, he looked the part all weekend.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I kept waiting for it to stop, and it never stopped.
And
Man, he's
and
just
can I just
steady.
talk about he is steady, yeah, for sure. And Adam, you can speak on this a little bit, right? So as a player, and you have your routines, right? Especially on the greens, you have your routines and things that you do. The whole thing that Clark and his caddy have, lining up putts, honestly freaks me out sometimes because he's like over the ball. Yes, he still has it. He has it marked and everything, and but you don't really see that too well on TV sometimes. And like you feel like he's about to putt, and his caddy's literally in line with the ball right behind him. I was like, oh my god, don't hit the ball! Like, what are you doing? And then all of a sudden they pop back, and it's like, and then his caddy walks off, and then he takes the mark away, and then he gets ready for putt. I'm like,
because there's a
wild.
rule.
Yeah,
there's a rule that they changed because of the LPGA. So on the LPGA a few years ago, it was so bad with their coaches were like their caddies.
Yeah.
And they would literally stand behind the player and line them up and make sure they were lined up before, and they wouldn't step away until they started their backswing. So they made a rule. So he's leaving his mark there. So he's not in breach of the rule.
Correct.
If he pulls his mark and his caddy's still there, that's a penalty.
Yeah. I should have started with that before I started the story, but
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's wild because I'm like, oh my god, because the first couple of times I see it, because I haven't like watched Wyndham Clark that closely to the point where I'm watching every single swing of his and every stroke, and I'm just like, oh my god, the first time I saw it, what are you doing? Stop. Like, and then I realized like, oh yeah, that's their routine. I'm like, that is messed up. Because
the legit part is how he doesn't use a tee on the par threes. That's like real old school. Just toss the ball down like your regular old Sunday golfer. Just toss it down, rake it in place, and then blast it. That's
like, I'm playing so poorly,
sick,
I'll just
dude.
throw this thing down and go and smack it. It's like, yeah, well, you're in the U.S. Open and you're still doing stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think
kind of crazy.
I think Rory definitely had some positives, and he said, if I play 100 more and get this close, I'm gonna keep playing. So, he knows he's maybe he's literally one shot away this week, but he knows he's, 2 foot closer proximity of the hole to running away with a bunch of majors now.
He is. Yeah. I mean, I don't.
His swing definitely looked better all week than it had the 2 weeks before when he really struggled.
Which I think there's some credit to him talking about going back and watching some old film of his and seeing like, man, I actually took something other than driver off the tee a lot more than I thought that I used to. And he said he, kind of was like, he saw that, he's like, I don't need to use the driver every single time. I can use other clubs and I can utilize that to my strengths and obviously still have the driver in my back pocket if I need it, because that's a huge advantage because of how far he hits the ball. But I think that he's got a newfound trust in the rest of his game now. And he feels like all of a sudden, whoa, I have the full package here. And
I think we're finally starting to see some of the, the upper mid-tier guys really stretch themselves closer to, I would say, the former top, like JT, Spieth, Homa. These guys are like, and Rahm are on a complete downhill slide the last 4 weeks. It's JT 81. I mean,
yeah.
Oof.
Spieth, I kind of figured after round 1 this wasn't a good course for him, and then JT, I thought it kind of fit him, but maybe it's just not. I mean, and Cole Knost did say, like a lot of players are bashing the course, and he's like, look, I played this course the week of Riv, and he thought it was a great layout. He said it's like horses for courses, like we always said. JT Poston plays Deer, like Adam Hadwin, JT Poston. There's a few guys that just play Deer really well because it fits their eye. And I think just off the tee, this didn't fit a lot of guys because of the blind shots and the run outs and all that.
Well, and crazy thing is that Jon Rahm finishes T10, in part to the 65 that he shot on Sunday, obviously. So,
which was really good for that course.
Yeah. Well, and
Fleetwood.
How about Tommy Fleetwood? Yeah, fired in a 63 on Sunday and
almost goes
T5
61.
I mean, he had a legit shot for 61. But I mean, then you got DJ who finished T10. And shot. It was 3 under with an 8 on his scorecard with a quad.
That was the best interview, and they said, "What were you thinking when you have it?" He goes, "Well, I mean, I just whatever. Once you get done with the hole, you just go to the next hole. I made birdie, so I was kind of like, oh, whatever." And then
he fought back and almost finished under par that day. Was he 1 over?
Yeah.
Or was he even?
He bogeyed the next hole after the birdie and then birdied 4 more after that. I think he shot even.
That was Friday. Yeah, he shot a 70. Yeah, so he still shot even on the day with having an 8 on hole 2.
Yeah, it could happen there.
Yeah, and then I mean, you're looking at some other guys here that you wouldn't.
But like we said,
see.
A dry 7,400 played 6,600, and we saw it. Guys weren't even hitting driver. Correct. And still getting wedges in. I think if they would have flooded the fairways and made it play 7,400, we would have seen way over par. Because if they had rock hard firm greens and watered where that taller rough, like the rough was thick 10 feet out, but if you really sprayed it, you had bare lies where you could really get at it. I think if they would have really soaked the course down, they would have had way different scoring.
I think it's just crazy when you look at round by round, you look at these scores. I mean, every day there's some really, really low ones and there's some kind of high ones, lots of stuff in the middle. Like you got even what I just see. So like Austin Eckroat shoots a 65 on Sunday. And you have Ricky Fowler shoot a 75, who was honestly doing pretty good there. Obviously for the first part of it. And
he had a few bad putts that didn't go in. And I think once he saw some putts kind of on Saturday, once he saw a few putts not go in, misses that 4-footer. I mean, that's the worst, to miss a 4-footer on 18 that gets you tied for the lead instead of one back. I think if he makes that changes his whole mentality on the second day. Or on Sunday, sorry. Yeah,
no, I know what you're saying. I mean, the top 20, it's all the big boys for the most part. I mean, you got Cantlay, you have Morikawa, you have Koepka, you have Fitzpatrick, you have Hovland, you have Shane Lowry, right? The only guys that are kind of around there, and that Nagano He shot a 75 on Sunday too, but otherwise he was in the mix there for a long time. But I mean, top 20 was at finished one over. I mean, that shows the teeth and the grit of the course. So like you got Russell Henley with a T14, shoots 2 over through the first 2 days, and then all of a sudden he's 4 under the last 2. So he did a nice job.
It was it was a great tournament. I liked the look of it.
But it was a different tournament every single day.
It was
because of how it was set up, and it made other guys shine through, and it made other guys have to grind it out. And some of the other guys were just like, I can play both these ways. And I don't know, it just was really entertaining. Like I said, Saturday really felt like a Sunday, and then it was like we had an entire field playoff on Sunday because everybody was still there. We got a full another day of that. So
and it jockeyed around.
Mm-hmm.
The last 12 holes, it could have been 4 or 5 different guys win.
And I will say, I can watch Cam Smith putt for the rest of my life and just be happy. That guy, if he can, I'm telling you, man,
he finishes.
Mark him down for the British, dude, to be there
place.
again.
I mean, the problem is where Rory's starting to trend, and we're going to a course that Rory's won at, and he seemed really excited about getting there.
Gosh, just watching, I don't know how many 20-plus footers I saw Cam Smith put in this weekend. It had to be a lot. I mean, or at least close to 20
he does that when he wins. He just charges back. He makes everything.
Yeah.
This is like the British Open flashback for these guys. It was like, holy shit, this guy's never going to miss.
I mean, Ricky hitting that 69-footer, and like four people saw it in person.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah, the USGA needs to really look at how they allocate the tickets for next time here, and how they I would assume they're going to use some different strategy, because
they have a few years to figure that out.
They're going to have to do some clearing out to get people closer to the greens. You can't have, I understand there's houses surrounding. You can't really have, 10,000 people standing in the backyard of the Playboy Mansion, but
you could also make sure that tickets are actually going to the public,
that are available for actual fans.
Yeah.
Maybe they do a lottery like they do for the Masters.
That was just really frustrating to not see anybody there.
Yeah.
I felt like there were still more people than what the TV broadcast showed, but like you said, they're so far away from the action.
There was a few times where they had showed holes where you could see it was like 50 people deep, and it's like, okay, well, here's all the people that are watching this week.
Yeah. I was shocked. I was shocked that they allowed them to fill in.
That was their goal, by not having the grandstands on 18. They wanted people to fill in like an old school US Open.
But just the way that things went, man, I was shocked that they allowed that. Like all these snobs, just saying, well, we're not going to let you get on our course at all. We're not anywhere near the playable course.
Yep. Yeah. There was that one, maybe it was 15. Yeah. Somewhere on the back 9 on the fairway, they were all lined up on the edge of the fairway. That was the only place I really saw a lot of fans until they crowded the green at 18.
After this year, I was looking this morning, the future sites were going back to some really good East Coast, really good golf courses. Next year we're at Pinehurst. Then we go back to Oakmont, Shinnecock, Pebble, Wingfoot, Oakland Hills, Marion. So
places everybody's familiar with, and then also places that know what the hell they're doing when they host.
I know the guys are like, oh shit, we have to go back to Shinnecock. This is not going to be my favorite week. Except for Brooks is like, I just got to keep my exemptions till 26 here. Because him and Bryson are probably the only 2 guys on tour that love Shinnecock.
Yeah, because they're the two weirdest guys.
It's a great golf course, but talk about hard. That is probably the hardest course, because they can make it unplayable and love it.
Yeah. I didn't on purpose. I didn't mention his name on purpose. Because in the top 20 there. But you just mentioned his name, I guess. So
Bryson?
Yeah, that Bryson finished in the top 20. But
he
he faltered on Sunday too, though. Shot 74. But
That was the one I should have picked. I mean,
they're day one
Ex-
though, man. 67.
yeah.
That was everybody's shock to see him up there in the top 10. It's like,
I think
what's
the
going on here?
USGA had sticker shock after round one.
I would agree.
Two record-breaking rounds. I mean, like basically in the same group,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what we were sold at all.
and then a 63
Going
on
into
Sunday to back it up.
Right. Well, and then even on day one, though, the guy's shooting, 64s and 66. Like, there's a million of them. Just like, what is this final score going to be here? So, they like went back to the drawing board and erased everything, went back to the drawing board on Thursday night. And we're like, we have to fix this.
Didn't
Yep.
Eric have Ricky Fowler tied round one or in the
Yep.
lead? First round leader.
First round leader. Yep.
50
Oh,
to
baby.
1.
Split in half, but still 25 to 1. I'll take
Take
that.
Take it.
Absolutely. This week, do they let fans on the course at the TPC River Highlands in Cromwell, Connecticut? That's where we're going for the Travelers Championship. Beautiful
like-
course. I saw a lake, got trees. Says we got maples, oaks, sycamores, various undulations, bent grass from tee to green, bluegrass fescue. If you find the rough, Adam, what the hell is bent grass?
That is what you see typically on a putting green. So typically these courses that are full bent, like John Deere, the Travelers course, something like Rocket, I think will be the same, but it's basically the same grass tee to green. So in the playing areas, it'll be the same grass. So big, huge divots, softs. It'll be a fun time.
Sounds like it.
This is, I didn't put him, but this is like a JT Poston type trending place where we saw him start to trend last year.
Yeah, I did see his name down there a bit.
It's an elevated event. He's got to be getting close to getting out of these if he doesn't start playing better.
Well, that's something to be said too for this elevated event, right? It's the strongest field in the event's history, obviously, because of the fact that it's an elevated event, and that's going to change those statistics like drastically now moving forward, because of the requirements for the elevated events and everything. But I mean, you want to talk about like a course that completely switches gears, right? Like from last week to this week, I mean, we're going to see lots of birdies. We're going to see a ton of scoring.
The players love Travelers too. I mean, this is like one of the best. I think this is one of the events where they like kind of use it as a model. So I've heard from from executives that run like John Deere and stuff that they all go to Travelers to see, like they do it over the top as far as like courtesy for the players, the families, the fans, everything. So it's going to be this is like the fan favorite. This used to have big fields before,
Now there's a $20 million purse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
No, we're
top
really
five shortest course on tour. I mean, there's actually some water. We're going to see some water this week, which is not the same as last week, obviously, but not too many holes. I think it's like middle of the pack when it comes to water dangers, like five water danger holes. And what was the average fairway width last week? Do you remember?
That was one thing I've seen all the bashing is that 60-yard wide fairway on 18th hole.
Yeah, so again, it's completely different, right? So we're like this week, the average fairway width is only 30 yards, so it's gonna be a little bit narrower. It's
For
like
an elevated event. These big guys spray it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's the 10th narrowest course on tour, so we'll see some stuff here, and the greens are gonna be a little bit slower. They're not gonna be running 13, 14. They're gonna be your average 12.
I was surprised to see Ricky still leaving putts short on Sunday.
So I thought too, I was talking to my father-in-law about this. I thought that it was really dumb how the TV broadcast was showing the greens because you couldn't tell whether or not a putt was uphill or downhill.
right.
And a lot of the times commentators wouldn't tell you what it was until the ball hit it. And so like I know like this is probably not very popular, but remember when they used to have like the grids where they'd throw the grid on there and you'd be able to see all the undulations in the green?
Yeah, they can't. That's
and then
aim point
pop it off.
technology.
Oh, it sucks though. Like, why can't I just see that?
I think
I wanna see it. because I want to be able to read greens and see what the hell's going on before they hit them. Like Eric just said, well, we didn't. Why is he missing them so short? Well, it's because it was 3 feet uphill.
I mean, as a player, I could tell they were uphill because when they hit in and it would hit by the hole, it would just release out. So you knew it was down, like it was going downhill.
But all of a sudden, you come to a new screen, right, where a guy's already lined up and ready to hit the putt, and you have no idea.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you watch his backswing and like how hard he hits initially, you're going to be able to figure out if it's uphill or downhill. But it's like you want to see that beforehand, and I was kind of frustrated with that. And
some of that technology was when they were with ESPN too. I think like ESPN has some of that, like trademarked or whatever.
Yeah, but they were just really unique greens, and it was really hard. I think it was really hard for the average fan to kind of see what was going on in the greens, and where guys were trying to go. And the one thing I will say is they tried to they went and they showed the greens like before players were actually getting out there, and they were walking through. It's like, all right, well, here's how you want to approach this hole today, and you want to go to here because it's going to release to this point and stuff, which is really nice. But if you're not watching the broadcast at that time, you're not going to see it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, they'd hit it 45 degrees away from the hole. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? Yeah. Oh, it's a big,
where they're hitting it off onto the fringe and it comes straight back.
Yeah. Some of it, I think, him leaving it short was he didn't want to go past the hole because then you got 15 feet coming back. Just tentative putting. It's just, it wasn't typical Ricky Fowler putting because when he's putting good, he's ramming it in the back of the hole, no matter what the distance in it. He seemed it was like he's protecting. But I mean, if you're looking at big picture and you want to be in that top 30 for Eastlake, he did what he had to do. He got a T4. I mean,
but he protected himself straight out of contention very quickly.
But we've seen guys through the history, like Charles Howell, for example, makes tour championship a few times, doesn't have a win, just slowly clicks away, top 10, top 5. I mean, we're going to see a lot of these guys that make it into Eastlake that probably don't have a win because they just are consistent. And me as a player, you want to win, that's cool, but if you could just click top 5s every week.
Consistency is highly profitable.
Somebody that's listening right now just texted me and he said nothing better than ramming it in the back of the hole.
Yep. When you're feeling it, that's usually how it goes. Well, before we get into these winning picks this week, here's a message from our friends at Jazz Online Sportsbook, Casino, and Racebook.
Jazz Sportsbook, Casino, and Racebook, the world's best resource for all-purpose online wagering. For over 20 years, Jazz has provided the best and quickest payouts in sports and entertainment wagers. Live sports betting, covering all the major sports leagues, and even into the new and exciting world of esports. Down the stretch you'll come, with Jazz's online horse wagering. Get paid when you play with Jazz's fun and exciting online casino games. Go online now and use the promo code TSS for our new members deals. Jazz Sportsbook, Casino, and Racebook, the world's best resource for online wagering.
Adam's going first this week. We're switching it up.
Okay.
Adam, who thinks finishing top 20 here at the TPC?
So top 20, I kind of went on guys that played really hot at the end and then one outlier, but so I got Fleetwood at 140 just because he played really good last week, final round.
He did.
We're going to a little easier track here. Tom Kim at 150. He's been playing pretty he kind of was off the grid. Now it looks like he might be playing his way back a little bit. Ricky at 175.
Tom Kim played really well to finish off the tournament
he did.
Last week. Yeah.
So Fowler at 175. Austin Eckroat, my new Patrick Reed 2.0, just a top 10, top 20 machine at 280. And then Bo Hostler at 450, who's played really good this year. I don't know if he played this week. I think he had to go to qualifier, but he's been playing really good.
What are the odds on Hostler?
450.
Woo. That'll work.
I mean, you had to go so deep to get plus odds on top 20s. It's crazy this week.
It's true.
That sounds crooked. Sounds like trying to get one over on us. Is Spieth playing this week, Smitty? Was he taking the week off?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, so can we make sure we clip that out, and we're gonna post that on all the socials that Smitty said.
I don't know who that is.
He's dead.
Never heard of him. Who's your top 20s, Smitty?
All right. Well, I think everybody might have just muted the show for my picks here because of how bad I've been as of late. But I was kind of looking back a little bit and just kind of seeing some past things and in this tournament, and then also just some guys who've been kind of trending in the right way, trying to get back to like our roots and how like Adam and I did it like right out the gates of the show. But so I have Russell Henley at plus 140. You know, I'll talk about him more. I got him moving forward here a little bit too, but I'll talk about him in a little bit. Then I have Ricky Fowler plus 175, just because he was in a good place afterwards, and he's still playing really good golf, and he's still trending in the right direction. So then I have Mr. Automatic top 20 himself outside of a major. I put Max Homa at plus 190.
It's good odds for Homa considering his track record.
Considering him and JT were drinking wine all weekend watching the golf.
Yeah, I know, right?
There's some great videos of those two out there, and you could tell they're 2 or 3 bottles deep.
Well, that was the only way JT was going to forget about it, because like when he was interviewed afterwards, you could tell how embarrassed he was.
He was mentally broke.
Yeah.
He said he's playing the worst golf of his life right now.
Like I thought he was going to start crying, honestly, there for a little bit.
I wanted to touch on that, but I feel like JT's at the point now to where it's almost like he's overthinking everything, overthinking the swing, overthinking playing. He's trying to hit everything too far. Like, maybe just go see another coach and just get a quick, like, hey, buddy, you're playing good, so your dad doesn't have to take all the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need
Switch
fresh
something
eyes
up.
on it when you're in a slump, you know?
It's true. Yep. Everybody needs a slump buster, right?
Exactly. Nothing wrong with that.
No. So then I have Jason Day at plus 190. I think that's where I am.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You know, really weird, right? Because he's missed 3 cuts in a row now, I think. But for the season, he's been playing really well. And, you know, he's played really well here. Really well. He's finished, I think he finished 12th. I'm looking right now. Hold on. Finished 12th in 18, 8th and 19th, and 10th in 2021. And he shot a 62 on Friday in 2021. So, you know, this is a place where, hey, this might be his slump buster to kind of get himself back on track a little bit. And then I have Ches Reavie at plus 500. Former winner. He won in 19?
Yeah.
And
That's recent.
Is he recently in this elevated event fields? I don't remember him playing in any other ones.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know that he's.
He might have played in the
he's
last
been
one. Did he get close in the last
play.
one?
I think he did play, yeah, and he played all right. But I mean, he plays this course really well too, and you know, he's ranking 7th in the strokes gained total at this course. So I mean, I think this is a place where he feels very fit. It's very familiar for him, and somewhere that he could play well. So that was kind of my long shot here. I wanted to take somebody a little bit higher odds than I normally do, just because I suck lately. So I want to change it up.
Switching it up. That's what you got to do. Shave the head. Pick Ches Reavie. Whatever it takes. I shave my head like every 2-3 days, so I can't really do that to get better gambling luck. Adam, what do you got in your top 10s?
Well, after I was looking, I was like, shit, I almost picked all Oklahoma State players here, but then I left one off. So,
I feel like there's just a million Oklahoma State golfers that are on PGA Tour.
There is now.
They're just all so good. Yeah.
And the crazy thing is all these guys were there at about the same time, which is even more unreal.
Yeah.
So I got Victor Hovland at 200. Fowler at 360. Eckroat at 650.
Gotta.
You got to. Minwoo Lee at 600. Played really good last week. I like the dude's style.
He's a nice player.
And then coming off the Canadians, that he really needs a slump buster is Corey Connors at 500. Plays pretty good in the elevated events.
Well,
I forgot
Those
about
some
Kevin
big
Tway. I
swings.
should have did Tway, but he was at 3,000 for a top 10.
oh, that's big swings. 650 plus 600 plus 500. It's crazy stuff. You get one of those and you're even. Then it's all
Well, I
profit
mean-
after that.
After the last few weeks, you got to go swing for the fences again.
Yep.
Double down.
Can't argue with results. And this has given us results in the past. I feel good about it. Smitty, what do you got in there? In the top tens?
I have Patrick Cantley.
Not-
Patrick Cantley at plus
Wait.
140.
Eh,
He's I don't know. I feel like he's a guy who's teetering too right now to jump into a top 10. Like, he's always around there, always in the top 20, and a guy who can just jump, who could very easily win tournaments, but just hasn't, as of late. Then I have Rory at plus 150, just because he's very, very hungry and wants to continue to get better.
he's getting there.
I have Victor Hovland at plus 200. And then I have Russell Henley at plus 320. And then Ches Reavie again at plus 1,200.
Oof.
Whoa.
So again, he finished 8th last year here.
Yeah.
And he gained 4 strokes putting last year in this tournament. For a guy who's not a great putter overall, you gotta when a guy is comfortable and gaining a bunch of strokes on greens when he's not traditionally a great putter, you got to know that he's super, super comfortable at that course. So I feel like this is something that he is really excited to do, is get on this course and play. So, and it's for more money than normal too.
Yeah,
And we're
what
going
are
to be
they
going
doing
from
making
dry
them?
Bermuda to probably wetter bent, which is going to
Mhm.
be a little different too.
A little different, yeah, for sure.
More forgiving, if you will.
Yeah.
What are they doing making him 12-1? Guy was 8th place. 8th is inside the top 10. That's
I know.
crazy. That's crazy stuff. What do we got? We only got 2 categories left. Well, 1 really for each of you, and that is the winner. Adam, who's going to win this tournament?
So I had Rory at 1,200. I just feel like he's so close. Clicking off a couple wins here. Fowler at 4,000 because it's Travelers.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Wyndham Clark at
4,500.
4,500. Go back to back. Fleetwood at 3,500. Just after last week's performance. He's come close a couple times the last few weeks. And then Hovland at 1,800, who's been a elevated event machine.
Yeah, I like that. That's good odds for Hovland going into it.
I mean, Scotty's a favorite, but I just didn't feel like his performance the last few weeks has just not really got me on the Scotty train again. I think it's terrible odds at 10 and 20, so I think 650 is just not that good for as well as he's playing.
Yeah, he didn't show me anything on Sunday that made me want to bet on him. On Saturday, I thought he had it all figured out.
Yeah.
He had 17 and 18 basically in like 4 strokes and then walked off the course. I'm like, he's gonna wake up tomorrow remembering that he's the best golfer in the world. He's gonna shoot 62 and win this thing. That is not what happened. I was surprised to see him fade there. At the end usually he hangs in. Smitty, who's on your winner list?
Well, I have I have Scotty Scheffler at plus 650, but I put it down as like as a 2-unit bet. Again, like if it's under 10-1, you gotta if it's under 5-1, I for sure am not ever betting it. But if it's under 10, just
No.
under 10-1, and you want to make it worth with all the different bets that we have here, you got to go 2 units there. But like this guy's had, what is it now, 100 top threes in a row now. I mean, I don't know. It's like when you're looking at his finishes as of late, and the guy has just been a top 5 machine. So he's not playing bad golf. Can you say something about possibly how he's been starting the weekends, right? With Thursdays and Fridays not being all that great, and then Saturdays doing, going on the aggressive train, and then Sundays like just kind of hanging around and letting other people falter, and he's playing just under par and everything, and he just nestles himself right in there.
Yep.
At some point, being as good of a player as he is, he's got to be able to just squash the bug and say, all right, I'm going to come out and win this bad boy now.
That's the Jordan Spieth model. That's what I
Yeah.
call that.
Yeah. Then I do have Rory at plus 1,200. I have Patrick Cantlay at 1,200. And I have Xander Schauffele at plus 1,600. He won here last year, so
Man, I wish I was half as tan as that guy.
yeah, he played some really good golf at times, and then the weekend hit and was a little rocky for him there. But I mean, in a course like this is, it's and he just won there last year too, so I expect him to play well. And then I have Russell Henley at plus 3,500, and I've mentioned his name in all 3 of the top 20, top 10, and winners. So he was T14 last week. He's been playing. So the big thing about that is he's been playing really accurate too. So like he ranks 6th in driving accuracy over the last few months, 7th in total strokes gained, and 4th in strokes gained approach, which are all going to be really key stats for this weekend for him. He's finished top 20 in 7 of his last 8. And
good.
He's been a pretty good iron player throughout his entire like tenure on tour. But I just like where he's playing right now, and that's what I was talking about before with like just trending in the right direction. A guy who's continuing to take steps forward here, and had a really nice showing at the U.S. Open last week. So I think he's going to feel pretty comfortable at a course that's going to be much easier, and a place that he's not going to be expected by any means, right? With being in an elevated event to come in and really turn heads, so he can be comfortable in his game and go do his thing. Did you, Adam? Did you have Brian Harman at all?
No,
I did not hear Brian Harman.
I mean,
I want to see him play a little better. I think maybe Deere will have him in the top for a winner.
So I was kind of looking at that too.
Plays solid. Him and Chaz Reavie both play really good at Deere. Luke Glover plays good at Deere.
Yeah, I was thinking when I saw Brian Harman's numbers, and it was just like, whoa, it's crazy. Like he's he's plus 6,000 to win. He's plus 500 for a top 10. Just so like.
I mean, you could go back like the last 10 years of Deere and look at the winners or the top 20 list, and it's almost the same guys every year. There's a few outliers, but there's 7 or 8 guys that play top 10 there every year.
That's why I
mean,
love the John Deere. I don't understand
It's
other
really
shows take off.
it's such a predictable tournament to me because the course never changes.
Yeah, I just mentioned Harman because well, for one,
I like
comments about it right away, but he was on like the bottom of my list for pretty much all of these, but I just couldn't kind of find a spot where I liked him to sit. But I mean, if you don't like some of those guys in the top 20 that we mentioned, I mean, Brian Harman sitting at plus 210 for a top 20. That's not a bad get because of how good of golf he's been playing so far.
Rise at 850 for a top 10.
Bry's been playing well.
He's at Rise at plus 350 for a top 20.
And Ludwig Aberg is 800 for a top 10.
Yeah, saw that too. I mean, there's
you gotta really him and Aaron Ryer at 10,000 to win. Those are 2 guys that have been playing really good, but
Ches is plus 20,000.
I think we might be able to get. You might be able to sneak maybe a Saturday bet at a long shot to win or a Friday.
Yeah.
I think it's really at a course like this where scoring is going to be very prevalent. Like, I think that there is I think that there is a chance where he could play. You know, I mean, so I think he could play well. But like, so I just got a message. So I got some insider info on Brian Harman because my friend is texting me about it. He goes, he just screenshot something, said over his past 6 trips to this tournament, Harman has 4 top 10 finishes, with one of them being a top 5, which
Wow.
is pretty good. You know, I mean, that's a pretty damn good track record. Like I said, I mean, I'm not saying don't bet on Brian Harman this week. I just didn't put him in my bets, which means he's probably going to do well because
For
I
sure.
fucking suck lately.
Yep. It's always the
All
bet
right.
you almost make that
Mhm.
you don't make.
Yep.
That one always comes home. Back when Tiger was dominating the sport, was he like plus 400 to
He
win?
would have been
tournaments?
negative money every week.
Well, you look at some of those events, right, where the guys earlier in the year, right, where like John Rahm was playing and he was sitting at like 2.5 to 1 to win. I mean, I'm sure there was a lot more of that going on with Tiger.
It was
where,
probably
like-
even money. Like the only way you can get Tiger good odds in a major is if you picked it for a whole year out.
I mean, we
So,
can
like-
look that stuff up.
I think I went to Vegas one year
Tiger
and
first
bet
round
him.
leader was probably like minus 250.
Yeah, I bet Tiger one year like to win the Masters, and I think he maybe finished runner up, and it was like I want to say like 5 to 1, and it was a full year ahead. So that just shows this dominance.
Let me see
Yeah.
here. I'm looking at some stuff. Oh wow, okay. Here we go. You ready? Tiger Woods odds and Masters results here. Okay. So in 96, when he missed the cut, he was plus 6,500. And then you've never seen numbers like that before for him or again. So until just the last couple of years. But 97, he was plus 800 going by year, plus 700, plus 700. 2000, he was plus 200.
Oh,
2001, he was plus 150.
to win the Masters.
Yeah, 2002 he was plus 200. 2003 he was plus 150. 2004 he was plus 350. 05 he was 350. 06 he was 200. 07 150. 08 he was 130.
And people were probably hammering those bets too.
I mean,
know.
a $10,000 bet, you know.
They're like, we can't price them low enough. They just keep betting it.
Like that, so it's just like I was talking about, right? When like Rahm was 2.5 to 1 and Scotty was 3 to 1 earlier in the year. That's where Tiger was pretty much all the time. And those are majors, man.
Yeah.
That's a Masters.
Yeah.
It's not like in
Major.
2022 when he was plus 5,000.
Yeah. Well, that happens.
I mean,
We're all
currently, right
human.
now, Rory is the favorite going into the British. So,
What's he at right now?
750.
That's probably
Kep-
right, though.
Koepka's at 1,400, and get this, Cam Smith 1,800.
Love that. Hammer it, boys.
What's
Somebody
Cam
hammer
Smith?
that.
1,800 to win the British right now on DK.
Wow. Yeah, it's gonna be
Uh,
Rory or Cam Smith, right?
I
I
mean,
think.
you can look
I
at
like those
Brooks
two
at
guys.
14, Spieth at 2,000, Fitzpatrick 28, JT 35. I could probably see that dropping to 6,000.
Yeah.
Bryson
British is
at
going to be fun.
Bryson at 5,000. Yeah, it's all going to be weather based. I mean,
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
I can't wait, dude.
Gosh, majors have been so awesome.
The best part about this year is those 3 playoff events are going to be way smaller fields. So we're going to be 70, 50, then 30. So
Yeah, you know,
we're
and
not
like
going
I
to have
said-
the top 125 anymore for the first event. It's going to be 70 or see ya.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like what we were texting before, I think it was, right? When I was like, man, I miss having the tournaments where it's the low end guys and it's just all of those dudes because
Yeah.
it's for gambling purposes.
It's
Like
way
you
easier.
said, right? It's way easier. Just like we talk about, okay, well, you just said it, right? The John Deere, it's so predictable. Okay, well, why? Well, it's because you know, like it's the same. The standings are the same every single year. Like the same guys
Yeah.
are doing well there, right? Because it's just guys get in that tournament, you know, because they know they can play well there. And they don't have to worry about all the big boys coming in and taking all their money. So they can come in and they can act like they're the big man
Exactly.
on campus. And I just, from gambling purposes, like that's where I personally don't care for the elevated events because of the requirements now to have those guys in it. But
It's like a major. It's hard to bet.
yeah,
You're just shooting at it. Like where we go to like the opposite field events or Deer or like next week at Rocket, it's going to be a little easier, but
right. Because
I'm
I can tell
sure-
you right now, if I were to look things up here and go online and start going to different websites and seeing what the experts are picking, right, for their winners and their top 10s, their top 20s, I can guarantee you that some of these guys are on those lists. A lot of the guys that we picked tonight are on their list too. So it's not like we're the only ones missing on some of these things as of late. It's just gotten really tough to bet golf because there's so many good golfers. And then with the more money at stake now in the elevated events, I mean, guys are bringing their A game because it's
it's
life-changing money. And, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
It's a ton of points, and we're on a Ryder Cup year, so these elevated events are worth points.
yeah, that's another great point. Yeah.
Wyndham Clark moved to 2 in the Ryder Cup standings with 2 wins
Wow.
in what, 4 weeks.
Yeah, that'll move you up.
Yeah,
Good for him though, man. I'm happy for him. He's fun to
I love
watch
it.
too. He's fun to watch.
yeah.
I love that. Like when you got guys that all of a sudden, you know, in the last month or so, you know, come out of the cracks and you know, and just like, oh gosh, and you just fall in love with him.
Yeah.
And he's totally that guy. Although he didn't caddy for his best friend yesterday, so he's probably not that nice of a person.
Yeah, I mean, he's not that cool.
Sorry, I had to throw that out there.
Brian Harmon, 65-1 first round leader. I'm trying to find our guy Henley on the list here. Further you have to scroll, the better. Right? Oh, there he is, 50-1. He's up towards the top. Interesting. I think you're on to something with this Henley guy. All right. I got to work tomorrow. We got to get out of here. Thank you, people, for listening. Thank you, Adam and Smitty, for all of your hard work and these solid gold picks. If you haven't already, subscribe to the show. It's right, the button's on here somewhere. Follow us on the Twitter at Plus Money Golf, all one word. That's our deposit match code word for underdog as well. All right. Best of luck with your bets this weekend. We'll see you right back here next Tuesday night for more plus money opportunities. Adam, say something cool that the golfers say.
Bad swings make bad shots.